morning, folks. Welcome, man. This is the show. I am your host, Hurricane Joe. Gonna kick it off right. Gonna start off in the NFL. Week 2, and the Saints come marching in off of a victory Monday. Nice win. NFC matchup. NFC South. Saints versus Panthers at Carolina. Saints do take the win 20-17. Derek Carr, he had a good game, so to speak. He didn't do us wrong, I'll say that. He didn't sink us. He went 21 for 36, 288 yards, no touchdowns, unfortunately. Did have the one interception. Thought he managed the game well for the most part. Didn't put the ball in harm's way. So I'm kind of okay with him as of right now. He didn't play aggressive. He didn't play as aggressive as I like to see him. He did have a couple big passes. One deep downfield up the right sideline to Rashid Shaheed. He caught one. Chris Olave also had himself a game. 6 for 86 yards. He also had a deep downfield pass. One-handed bobble on the left sideline, just outside the numbers. He had a decent game. He had the crucial third down conversion as well. That was a nice pass. On that same drive, the Saints scored on a 3-yard run from Tony Jones. Tony Jones, who also had 2 touchdowns last night, he seems to be our go-to guy for power plays and power runs. So we're looking solid in terms of the run game. A lot of people didn't think we win that game. For some reason, they're real low on us. We did win that game close, sure, and we have won the last 2 close, but we've been running the ball well. I like the way we look on defense. I think once we put this offense together, hopefully soon. Not sure what Pete Carmichael is doing under there, but come on, let's get this together. It's week 2. All right, so week 3 is coming around, man. Let's get it up and running, man. We need some offensive points. That's what I'm looking forward to see from the Saints. I'm looking forward to see Alvin Kamara come back soon. I like the way our personnel is. We just don't need to screw this up. I mean, this is a job for Pete Carmichael to screw up. All you have to do is manage these guys. Don't let them get too low. Don't let them get too high. Just keep them right there and working. I like the way our defense has been working. I mean, great tackling. Granderson had himself a game just in the first half. 2 tackles for loss and a sack fumble. He was getting off the block well. I like the way he looks on the interior. Our interior guys do look fast. They look quick. I like the youth on the line. I like the youth in the defense overall. Pete Warner looked great. Marcus May, he didn't look bad as well. He starting to come through on his namesake, on paper at least. So, the Saints come marching in. Who that nation? We're looking good. Only time will tell about the offense. Pete Carmichael, I don't think he should have a job, me personally. But, I mean, what are we going to do? Sign a petition? Every Saints fan sign a petition and vote on Pete Carmichael. I'll do it. And I'm getting him out of there. I have a coalition put together just to get him out of there. That's how bad of an offensive coordinator I think he is personally. Don't like the play calls. Sure, we run the ball well, but come on, man. Come on, to the Panthers. Moving on, jump into another matchup. Kansas City Chiefs, Jacksonville Jaguars. They battled it out in a tough game. No scores in the first quarter. Kansas City did put up a touchdown in the second and the third with the field goal in the fourth. Jacksonville was only able to score 1 time in the second quarter. Well, correct me. They scored in the third, but just a field goal. Jacksonville take the L, 9-17. Kansas City takes the win. Patrick Mahomes, 29 for 41, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Trevor Lawrence, 22 for 41, 216 yards, 0 picks, 0 touchdowns, but he did take 4 sacks. So Mahomes took 1 sack. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, he took 4. So, yeah, I kind of like this win by Kansas City. Good rebound off of the Lions loss. Isaiah Pacheco, 12 carries for 70 yards. He averaged 5.8 yards per carry. Other than that, Clyde Edwards had 1 touch. Jared McKinnon had a touch. Mahomes had 7 touches with 30 yards. So Mahomes is the second leading rusher on the team. Run game was not churning that much as of late. Receiving wise, Sky Moore, three catches for 70 yards. He didn't do anything special. Chiefs are still looking for that second guy that they can have now. Kelsey is still kind of banged up. Receiving wise, this receiver core, a lot of people were saying a lot of bad things, mediocre wise, saying that this receiver core is very mediocre and not over the top. And I don't want to say they're kind of being exposed as that to being true, but they haven't been coming through the last 2 weeks, haven't been breaking the game. A lot of drop balls. Don't even get me started on that week 1, but Jacksonville, Christian Kirk had 11 catches, 110 yards. He had a great game. 14 off of 14 targets. So obviously Jacksonville does have weapons at the receiver position and at the skill positions. When your number 1 receiver only goes 2 for 32, you're still in that game just outside of 1 score of the game. So I think Jacksonville definitely has a lot good to take away from this game, even though they didn't play up to the standard that I think they did previously. So, but we're going to move into another matchup, and it's right here in the state, Pennsylvania, at the Lincoln Financial in Philadelphia. A lot of people were low on the Vikings coming into this game. I did tell people I was high on the Vikings. I was also high on Kirk Cousins. He did go 31 for 44, 364 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, 2 sacks. And while on a contrary, Jalen Hurts, these are his numbers: 18 for 23, 193, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. If you just saw the quarterback numbers, you would have sworn that the Vikings won. But Eagles take the win just by 6 points. They cover the spread 34-28. Minnesota did look good. I was high on Minnesota coming in. I did say on the record that if Justin Jefferson broke 120 yards receiving, that the Vikings would win. He got 11 receptions for 159 yards, and they still lost. So there's the take on that. So Justin Jeffs, 11 for 159 yards. Vikings losing 28-34. Eagles rushing attack, DeAndre Swift, 28 for 175 yards and a touchdown. Boston Scott, 5 for 40 yards. Jalen Hurts, 12 for 35 yards and 2 touchdowns. Clearly the Eagles had the running game going, and they had it moving. They had moving the ball up and down the field. They got a great O-line. They can move guys around if they need to. Eagles, I'm still high on them, but I was really expecting, the Vikings to kind of come through on this upset. Did let me down. If it was the Saints, they would have won the game. But all that being said, Eagles take the win by 6. They still show strong showings of a great team. Devontae Smith, 4 receptions for 131 yards for the Eagles. A.J. Brown, 4 for 29. He was having a lot to say on the sideline, should I say. I'm not sure what he was upset about. Allegedly, it was touches, but either way, I think he'll be all right. I think the team morale will be fine. Jalen Hurts will hold those guys together. I expect them to be a contender team as well for this year as well. They're starting off 2-0. They won the home game. They're showing resilience because the Vikings were kind of making a run a little bit at that end in that fourth quarter, so they showed some resilience. They can run the ball well, which will keep opposing offenses off of the field, so they got that working in their favor as well. Look for them to recover a little bit in that secondary. Reed Blankenship and Bradbury, they had two injured people in the secondary, two injured starters, should I say. So I did think they were compromised before the game even started. And Minnesota Vikings and Kirk Cousins obviously showed you guys that as well. I mean, Kirk didn't have 0 picks, didn't have any interceptions, 364 yards, 31 attempts with 4 touchdowns. I mean, how can you complain with that performance? You can't really put that on Kirk, even though he may not have done as much as you would like. I mean, what more can you ask? So, Vikings start the season off 0-2. I don't think it's on Kirk, honestly. Although he did not, particularly light it up in the first game. But I don't put it all on Kirk. Football is obviously a team game. And you got to be able to protect your quarterback. And that's what the Vikings need to work on, in my opinion. Even though Jalen Hurts was sacked 2 more times in this game than Kirk Cousins, I think they need to start investing in the O-line the same way I feel about another team, which I'll get to in a few here. But next up, let's jump into the AFC North. We got the Ravens and the Bengals facing off on a banger of a game, hell of a division rival game. Lamar Jackson, he didn't do, bad particularly. He played up to somewhat of his standard. 24 for 33, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 12 carries, 54 yards, averaging 4.5 a carry. Leading rusher for Baltimore, Gus Edwards, 10 carries, 62 yards with a touchdown. Receiving core-wise, Baltimore didn't do bad, to say it's Baltimore. 5 receptions, 63 yards, and a touchdown for Nelson Aguilar. Zay Flowers, he's still showing promise, although he did not have a big game as he did before, the week before previous. Zay Flowers, he came through 4 catches, 62 yards, no touch. Mark Andrews, 5 for 45 and a touchdown. Odell did get injured, 3 for 29 off of 4 targets. So Odell, he caught 3 of the 4 balls that were thrown his way. He's improving. Look for him to hopefully come back from the injury. According to John Harbaugh, the injury is not serious. Minor ankle tweak, so hopefully he's back out there soon. Joe Burrow on the Cincinnati side of the equation, 27 for 41, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick with a 61.5 QBR compared to Lamar Jackson's 82.4 QBR and 85.6 passer rating for Joe Burrow compared to 112.8 passer rating for Lamar Jackson. The leading rushers coming out of Cincinnati, Joe Mixon, 13 carries, 59 yards, no touch. Joe Burrow, 1 for 5. And those are the 2 leading rushers for Cincinnati. Receiving wise, T. Higgins caught 8 balls, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a great game. Tyler Boyd, 6 for 52 with no touchdowns. Jamar Chase, 8 targets, 5 catches, 31 yards. Joe Mixon, 4 targets, 4 catches, should I say, 36 yards. So Mixon had a higher receiving average than Chase in the Baltimore game. Baltimore Ravens defense did look solid. They were flying around, playing tough. Of course, it's division rival. Baltimore safety, don't let me forget his name, excuse me. Number 26. How did I forget the safety name? He had a pick. He had a pass breakup. He definitely had a great game as well. His name does slip my mind at the time, but he had a great game. Great break on that ball in the end zone when he caught that interception. I'm still not as high on Joe Burrow with his injury still nagging. According to reports, he still tweaked his right calf again. So I'm not sure what to expect from him moving forward. I was not picking the Bengals to win this game, so I did have the Ravens winning this game, coming out on top. They beat the Bengals by 3 points, 27-24. Lamar Jackson starts off the season 2-0. Look for him to continue to improve and hopefully try to prove himself of why he was worth what he was asking for, why he's worth what he's gotten with that contract. But as far as I know, Lamar, he played a clean game, decent game. Great job by the Ravens. Great job by John Harbaugh. Good division win. Respectable division rivals. They did not let Joe Burrow just come in there off of namesake and take it easy on him. So that's another thing I really do respect about the way the Ravens played last night. They definitely played to win, as you could tell from the jump, from the initial kickoff. So Ravens come out there flying fast. They flying around. I am very high on the Ravens. I told a lot of people this year, I got either the Ravens or the Browns in a close second coming out of that division. I know it's the toughest division, one of the toughest divisions in football, if not the toughest. Well-rounded division with Baltimore, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh hasn't been looking as hot as of late, but in the end, I know people are low on Matt Canada, but Mike Tomlin, I think eventually he'll get rid of Matt Canada. Of course, he's going to keep him for this year, but don't worry, Pittsburgh fans. Your offense will be changed sooner than later. I don't think this is going to sustain with the way that he runs the offense. Not exactly sure about the play call, but that's up for y'all to decide. I'm a Who Dat fan, man. So when the Steelers go low, don't ask Baby Joe. We are back with the show. That's right. This is your host, Hurricane Joe. Jump back on a diamond. Los Angeles Dodgers, we do take the crown. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Los Angeles Dodgers, National League West champions. Guess what? We're crowned champions for the 10th time in 11 years. That's right. Los Angeles Dodgers take the cake. Entering play on Saturday night. The scenario, we primed to secure the division. With the 4-game win streak coming towards the end of this year, season-wise. Thankfully, the boys in blue, we did it right. Clayton Kershaw, he kicked off the game. He tossed the first 4 through scoreless. He gutted it out. Bullpen held Seattle for the next 5. Dodgers took the 1-0 lead in the top of the 10th, but they did give the lead up in the bottom of the 10th because extra innings, ghost runner is still a rule that exists in baseball. So moving into the 11th, we were tied 1-1. Max Muncy put the Dodgers back ahead. RBI single drive, and that was his 100th RBI of the season. So he had a career high for RBIs this year. After Ahmed Rosario walked, Chris Taylor, he gave us insurance. Another 2-run single, put the game away. Kike Hernandez, he added 2 more with the blue single to right field. Dodgers take the cake. Champagne bottles were popped. That's right. We had a party. Dodgers on top. 2023 NL champions for the 10th time in 11 years. We're doing good in Hollywood. It's all good in Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Los Angeles Dodgers, we on top. Finished the season with 92 wins. So I'm very high on my Dodgers right now. I had to jump over in the MLB. I know it's week 2 of the NFL, but I'm sorry. My Dodgers, we're making history. We're going to do it again. Mookie Betts, great game. Max Muncy, good hit. Clayton Kershaw, great pitching. We're going to move right back in to the NFL. Let's get into this insider topic real quick about some NFL rumors in terms of Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of people are saying they should consider a quarterback change soon if the abysmal offensive performances keep up. Nobody is out here rooting for Mitch Trubisky or really beating the drums for him. But could he be that much worse than Kenny Pickett? That's the real question. How much worse can Mitch Trubisky be than Kenny Pickett? I mean, I know it's still a great chunk of the season that hasn't been played, and they want Pickett to prove himself. They want to give him time to prove himself or whatnot. But, I mean, as much as you want to blame Matt Canada, you have to put a lot of that blame on Kenny Pickett as well. I mean, he looked just as bad as Matt Canada. As a career starter for the Steelers, what has Kenny Pickett really done to deserve all the praise and adulation that he got before the season, and all of the saving and scapegoating they're doing for him now with Matt Canada? You know, there were so many game-winning drives that saved Kenny Pickett from having to really face the music. But, you know, a lot of Pittsburgh fans, they're starting to lose patience. They don't believe Kenny Pickett can move the chains consistently, and can you really be mad at him? I mean, they look god-awful on offense the last 2 weeks. I don't know what else you want them to do. But they do have Mason Rudolph and Mr. Trubisky, who both have a lot of starting experience in this league. So it would take a lot for the Steelers to go left on Pickett and punt on his development and kind of, you know, kick him to the side a little bit. But if they continue to struggle to move the football the way that they have, you got to consider it. There's no way you can just keep doing this. This is the NFL. So they also need to make an offensive line adjustment. Dan Moore, he isn't cutting it. Myles Garrett and a tough Cleveland Browns defensive line gave him problems. It was rough. Moore, he has the positional flexibility to be somewhere else if they need him to move. So Pittsburgh should rotate him. A lot of people are considering that, but if not, at least go get Broderick Jones, move up in the first round. But Myles Garrett and that Browns defensive line, they ran laps around Moore, picked on him. It was funny to watch, honestly. So as bad as Pickett was at the QB position, the offensive line, they didn't look much better. So it's hard to even evaluate Kenny Pickett overall, since you don't really see it in consistent. You don't see it consistently. As far as Matt Canada, that's part of your job as well. You also had to do something about this. I'm surprised he hasn't got fired yet. A lot of people are asking when are they going to fire Matt Canada? Eventually, Mike Tomlin will be forced to make a decision. They'll have to do something. You got to let your guy go. He scored 14 points on Monday night. He's yet to register over 400 yards total as a Pittsburgh offense coordinator. At some point, he's going to have to get him out of there. Because if you look at Matt Canada's play calling, you can't give him the benefit of the doubt with the way that the offense has been operating. They had a chance to clinch the game on their own accord, but Matt Canada with his play call, of course, and the Steelers, they replied with the "Fire Canada" chant. You could hear it on the broadcast. So, of course, Tomlin, he knows the situation. He knows the tension that exists currently. He knows the urgency that he needs to move with in terms of getting the offense on the right track. So, expect them to make some changes soon. Now, with that being said, this isn't Maryland. This isn't Pitt University. So, Matt Canada, you can't just fail and expect to keep a job, man. This is not only the NFL. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, a cornerstone franchise. It's not gonna stand, buddy. So, get your act together soon, or you'll be getting your clothes together and your bag together soon. But that's not there nor there.